Good morning to you. This is Brad, and I am with Zulon International Bible Institute. Revelation chapter 21 is where we're going. You know, if you're talking to somebody about Christianity, about coming to Christ, about giving their life over to Christ, do you remember to tell them about the rewards that will come, about the finish line? You see, I wouldn't go and try to recruit somebody for the Olympic track team if I was a coach for that, if I didn't tell them of the gold medal that is a possibility of the rewards at the end. I wouldn't just say, well, you're going to join the Olympics and we'll give you some shoes and we'll make you practice so many hours a day and then you might travel. No, that's not enough. But what you would do is you would tell them the end result and then work backwards. Now, here's how you get there. If I'm a football college coach and I am talking with a recruit, one of the first things I say is, son, we have a winning team. There's a scholarship here for you. Now, here's how you can get it. You see, we'll start there. But many times in Christianity, we won't talk about what the finish line entails. Now, we're going to go to Revelation chapter 21, and we'll start there, and we'll start looking at the conclusion of all of this. Revelation chapter 21, the first verse is amazing because the key word here really is new. Now, why am I holding this? See, because this is a cookbook that my mom, she's in heaven now, she had passed down to my wife. This is the Zockel Family Heirloom Cookbook. And you'll see all of these different recipes that are scattered throughout here that we share and we learn about, and they're new to us. But as you go on through and you start looking at these different items here, they're pasted in, and they're new. I mean, we're learning them. But that new is not what Revelation chapter 21 is about, because these are new to us. But people have had these before. They've tried these recipes before. My mother is second generation out of Russia, so there are generations of Russians who had had these before, and so it's new in a different way. Give you something else here. I bought these pens the other day for my work here at the Institute. Now, these are new to me. They all came in the same package, about 20 different colors. I've never used them before, but we've seen pens before. We've even seen this brand name before. These are new, not in the way that it is in Revelation chapter 21 and verse 1. Another example. My brother's a potter up in Maryland, and he made this mug for one of my ministries. Now, I've never used this mug prior to pulling it out of the package that it came through as he sent it to me. It's new, but see, we've seen mugs with handles and rims and the holding power for liquid. So this is not the kind of new in Revelation chapter 21 and verse 1. Let me give you an idea. The word, when we read this, new, watch how it is. Then John the seer is writing this, and he has been given the ability to be able to see the eternal state. And he says this, then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. Now listen to this very, very carefully. He says, I saw a new heaven and a new earth. Now the first thing I want to bring to you is this. When he says saw, in the Greek, this means much more than just taking a look with your two eyes. The depth of the definition means this. Well, really, I experienced. So think about it. John is saying this, I felt the gravity of heaven. I smelled the aroma of heaven. I heard the high octaves of the choral singing of heaven, and I was able to feel the excitement and the electricity in the air of heaven. I experienced the fellowship and the love and all those other things. That's really what it means when it says eido. Eido is the Greek word for I saw. Eido. I experienced heaven. Could you imagine that, experiencing heaven? See, you won't come back from an amusement park or a trip over in Europe and say, well, I saw that, and then I saw that. Well, that's included in it, but you'd say this, oh, it was a hot day there, or the water was refreshing, and the food was fantastic. Let me describe it. See, you're talking about the experience. Did you say, I went and saw Israel, or I saw Vancouver, or I saw Los Angeles, or I saw Hawaii? Yes, you could say that, but it means so much more. And that's what John's saying in Revelation chapter 21 and verse 1. The key here is he says this, I saw a new heaven and a new earth. When we look into the epistles of Peter, he says this present earth will be taken away. It won't be renovated, it will be reconstructed altogether. It's taken all the way down to its smallest molecules, as we read in the Greek, and it will be redone. When it is, we are now seeing the results in Revelation chapter 21 and verse 1. A new heaven. The word is kainos. Kainos. And that word kainos means something that has never even been imagined. Never been imagined before. You see, in the Corinthian epistles, it says, eye has not seen nor ear heard, neither has it entered into the heart of man the things that God has prepared for those who love him. So what it says there is, you can't even begin to imagine what the Lord has for you, you that love him. It's kind of like you're looking at that Christmas present, and it has your name on it. It's from someone you love. And you keep teasing as you go, look under the tree, go, boy, that must be nice. And they keep saying, oh, you have no idea. You have no idea. And then it comes on that special day, on Christmas Day, and you open up that package to a great shock. It's much more. You said, I had no idea. You're absolutely correct. This is much more. Well, you take that and multiply it times 20 gazillion, and you'll get the idea of what God has for us in heaven. We can't imagine it. Now, I imagine you have a great imagination, and the friends around you have great creative minds. Put them all together and try to imagine what the most perfect heaven would be like for you. And God says, you're not even close. It has never been experienced. That's what kainos means. And it's never even been thought of before. It hasn't even been imagined. Can you imagine that? I can hardly even grasp that idea of the imagination that is used by God. And so we're going to start off this study by keying on those two words. I saw, I experienced the new heaven and the new earth. It is unheard of. Will it have, now we'll talk about this, will it have things similar to what we see here on the present earth? Yes, we'll see that as we have our study. Will there be waterfalls and beaches and festivals and roadways and feasting? Of course, we'll see that. Will there be animals and plants? Yes, there will. This is sort of like a very general pattern of what the new earth will be like, but it'll be much, much more magnificent, beyond what any mind can conceive, and it will be large enough to house the monstrous New Jerusalem that will be coming down out of heaven. Oh, Revelation chapter 21 is a magnificent thing. And you know what the most important thing about it is? It's going home. It's going home. This is Jesus Christ, by his work on the cross, making this possible, of getting rid of anything that would keep us from having the perfect invitation to go there. And in accepting that invitation to go to heaven and following Christ, we now have access to the kingdom. And the Father says, welcome home. That's what Revelation 21 and 22 is about. We'll talk some more about that. This is Brad with Xulon International Bible Institute. Thank you so much as we continue our study on Revelation chapter 21.